Hello, my goal is to teach you how to navigate WestlawNext in only 20 minutes. Naturally, this will only represent an introduction to this very deep-pocketed resource, but it should give you enough knowledge to do basic legal research. The first thing I want to point out is that the Westlaw Research Platform was radically redesigned and re-released 5 years ago with a new name, WestlawNext. Westlaw developed a new search algorithm over many years, utilizing artificial intelligence and some of the crowdsourcing methods first pioneered by Google. This change, and Lexis has gone through a similar transition, was born out of necessity. The problem being that information on Westlaw is compartmentalized into individual databases. The old system required that you first pick a database or group of databases and then formulate and run your search. Now that worked fine when databases numbered in the hundreds, but once that number climbed into the thousands, then the tens of thousands, presently at about 40, that system became untenable. Now, with WestlawNext, you first utilize filter options, rendering the number of databases searched and subsequent information retrieved manageable. Then you formulate and run your search. As I like to tell students when I talk about these legal databases, meaning Westlaw, Lexis, and now Bloomberg, it's easier to conceptualize these massive legal information resources if you keep in mind that they basically do three things. First, document retrieval. This is when you have a citation in hand and you just want to see or make a copy. And that's the simplest and the easiest task to learn. Second is citation services. This is to check the accuracy or validity of a citation, and in that classic phrase, to find out if a case or a statute is still good law. And this is the citator function or shepherdizing component. And in Westlaw it's called keycite. The third function is to do legal research. And toward that end, WestlawNext puts at your disposal a massive amount of primary and secondary legal material. Okay, let's take a quick look at the WestlawNext homepage, and under the logo you see the search box which states enter search terms, citations, databases, anything. And then next to that is the jurisdiction box, and then next to that is the search box. Next to the search box, below that is the series of tabs. We have the All Content tab, Federal Materials, State Materials, Practice Areas, and Tools. Let's begin with a couple of examples of the easiest task, document retrieval. This is when you have a citation in hand and you just need a copy. First, let's try a law review article. And there you go. Now let's try an ALR annotation. And there you are. Simple as that. Before we move on to retrieving statutes and cases, let me show you how quickly you can retrieve individual databases. For example, say you wanted to retrieve a database that constituted one individual treatise, like Wigmore on evidence. You would begin by simply typing in the title, and then you'll see a pull-down menu, and in this case you'll see a number of choices under looking for this, and I'm going to click on Wigmore. Now many times in a treatise the default will present to you the table of contents of that particular work. So what you can do then is just pick the subject matter that you're interested in and then bore down to individual topics. Another example, say you were looking for Hawaii state cases. All you need to do is to type in Hawaii and then all Hawaii state cases. Alright. Let's try a federal statute. Now, in the interest of time, we're going to pause and talk about using an annotated code. First, a code is simply a compilation of laws from a specific jurisdiction that have been arranged in a pre-existing scheme based on the subject matter. An annotated code is one that contains the codified statutes, but also historical and analytical materials, and most importantly, case law that will help you understand how a specific code section has been interpreted. So at the top you see the statute citation and subject matter, and on the left a red status flag, which means that some portion of this law has been deemed unconstitutional or preempted. Below that are the tabs. First the document, and that's the statute itself, followed by the all-important notes of decision. These are the court cases that have interpreted this section of the code, and in this case there are over 5,000 of them. Next is the history section, which gives you information on earlier and proposed versions of the law and the legislative history. Then the citing references, which is every instance that has been cited in any document. And finally, the content and analysis section. And this is mostly secondary legal authority that attempts to explain the law. Okay, let's switch to a case and in the process talk about key cite. Okay, at the top is the case status flag, case name, court, date of decision, and parallel cites. Below that, the synopsis section, which will give you the bare bones facts, issue, and final disposition of the case. And below that, the head notes, which I'm going to discuss in length in a few minutes. And then the language of the opinion itself. Now back to the top, you see a series of tabs, and this constitutes the key cite function. We have filings. These are filings in the case itself, briefs and motions, etc. Negative treatment. These are the cases that have criticized the opinion. History. This gives you the history of the case as it moved through the appellate chain. Citing references. All documents that have cited the case, starting with negative treatment. Take note of the case status flags and the depth of coverage boxes on your right. Suffice it to say that the more boxes, the more the case has discussed the cited case. And if you've seen a green quotation mark, that means that the case has been quoted directly. And then finally, the table of authorities. These are the cases cited in the original opinion on which the judges built their arguments. Okay, let's get down to some actual legal research, and let's go back to the home page. And that can be done by simply clicking on the WestlawNext logo, the top left. Let's first look at the jurisdictional search method, and this will restrict your search to a particular or set of jurisdictions. To set that up, simply click on the button directly adjacent to the search box, and you can search all of them, or all states, all federal material. You can search a selected group of states or federal courts in any combination you wish. In this example, let's restrict our search to the Federal 6th Judicial Circuit. And from the content menu, let's also restrict our search to just cases. Now before we do a search, let's talk about your two options in searching WestlawNext. WestlawNext offers you two different search options in searching for material. The first is called natural language searching, and this utilizes artificial intelligence and is basically just as the name denotes, a way of simply putting in any kind of search that you wish. It can be one sentence, it can be an entire paragraph. The problem is it's hard to predict, and order really does matter. What we recommend is terms and connectors. It's more precise, more predictable, and more challenging to create. The two basic connectors are, of course, the OR connector, and that grabs any document that has either term, for example, in this luggage or baggage, and the AND connector grabs any document that has both terms, search and baggage, as represented in the green portion of the Venn diagram. Connectors. These are versions of AND. Types of AND connectors include the /s, which means that both terms within the same sentence, /p means both terms within the same paragraph, or /n, meaning that between 1 and 255 word spaces must be present in order to be eligible for retrieval. Connectors non-Boolean. They include the root expander. This is the multiple character replacement at the end of word only, the wildcard, or the exact phrase. Only searches for phrase, and it treats a phrase as just one big word. So some examples with the root expander. Discrim with the root expander at the end will retrieve discriminate, discriminatory, discriminated, etc. Women's rights as a phrase will treat that as simply one large word. Field searching. This restricts the search to a specific field. For example, TI with an open paren and the term in closed paren searches for the term only in the title field. HN, open paren with a term and then closed paren, searches for the term only in the headnote field. And fields change depending on the database and the type of document. Okay, let's go ahead and do a search. And we're going to do this search. SY, HN, open paren, emergency aid or protective sweep, and drug or marijuana or meth with the root expander at the end, close paren. Now what does this mean? It means that we are looking for material within the jurisdiction of the Federal Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, but only cases, and we are using the HN and SY field restrictors, meaning for those two terms, emergency aid or protective sweep, and take note they have quotation marks indicating that they will be treated as one word, but only in the synopsis field or the headnote fields. But drugs, marijuana, meth can appear anywhere in the case. And when we run that search, let's do that now. It brings up 26 cases rather. Okay, let's pick a case and let's examine the topic, key number, and headnotes. Known as the American Digest system, this is the way that lawyers and judges have been finding cases which discuss the same issues of law for about 130 years. So the editors at Westlaw extract every legal issue from a case, write about that issue in one sentence, and assign it a general topic and a much more specific key number. And if you want to look at headnotes from other cases that examine that exact same legal issue, you can look in a print digest or access them electronically. And this is how it works. First, examining a headnote, and you find where within the case the legal issue is discussed, simply click on the box next to that headnote. It will take you to the interior of the case where that issue has emanated from. To get back to the headnote, click on that number again. Now below the headnote, you'll see cases that have cited the headnote. In this example, in number 2, it's only 1. Now if you want to find other cases that have the exact same topic and key number, simply click on that topic and key number on the left. In this case, I'm going to pick emergencies and exigent circumstances. And when I do that, we find that there are 456 headnotes to choose from. Okay, so you don't have a case, and let's go back to the home page. And you still want to find out a correct topic and key number. From the Tools section, simply click that on. The first choice is the West Key Number System. This gives you a menu of all the topics and all the key numbers. Say we're interested in equitable conversion. You can click that on. Then the key numbers will be presented. You can pick up to 10 at a time and search. And there you go. In this case, it only brought up a single headnote. Okay, let's look at some of the other filters as represented by the tabs on the home page. And I have already mentioned all content, which lets you restrict by material type. All content, material type, secondary sources, briefs, jury verdicts, etc. And then there's the federal materials. Note both cases and regulations. State materials. Practice areas and tools. Let's go back to the state materials, and we're going to pick Michigan. And these are all the materials that are specific to Michigan, irregardless of type. Going down, for example, to all Michigan secondary sources, and click that on, which gives you a list of all the secondary sources pertinent to the state of Michigan that are available to you. Let's take a look at the Practice Area tab. Let's pick Criminal Law. And here you go. Under the secondary sources, you'll find a number of really great treatises on criminal law. For example, clicking on Search and Seizure, treatise on the Fourth Amendment. Here again, the table of contents is presented. Click on that. And then you can just bore down until you get to the exact section that you're interested in. Okay, let's do a search by material type, and we will do briefs. And we're going to pick the Sixth Circuit. Here again. And let's just pick a search. We'll do impound within 20, automobile or car or vehicle. And there you go, 198 briefs. If you want to see a brief in its original format, once you bring it up, you'll see a PDF icon on the left. You can click that on, and it comes right up. There's so much more I could show you. Forms, administrative decisions, all kinds of court documents from any jurisdiction that you wish, and the list goes on. Once you do find a document that you want, you can print it, download it, email, or send it to your smart device. The system will save the last 20 searches you did by simply clicking on the down area in the search box at the top. In the left, you'll see a History tab. What this will do, this will show you and preserve your searches for a whole year. There's so much more I could talk about, but that's all the time I have for now. Thank you for your attention.